Alright, so far we've hit our regular text tool and our spacing tool. And the spacing tool I use quite a bit, to be honest with you. Alright, now we're going to convert this text to curves. To do that, I'm going to get rid of this because I'm going to do something very simple here, but kind of cool. So we got that selected. I'm going to delete that, select it, delete it. I'm going to come to my text tool, select it, and I just want a basic Arial font. So I'm just going to hit the A key, which will take me to the A's. Or I could go AR. And AR will take me right over here to, let's see, let's go. Let's try Arial Black. And I'm going to type my name. And let's bring that up to maybe 2.5. That looks good. I'm going to close it, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to center it to my workspace. Now I have it centered to my workspace. And just in case, if you all are looking at this, and you do not have this set that looks like this, come up here to your Align Selected Objects, click on that, and then down here, this little checkbox here, Show Common Tools, make sure that's checked. Then close out, then you'll have all of these on this page. We use this quite a bit, and that just saves us from having to jump back and forth a lot. Alrighty, so now I have it, and it's all centered in my workspace. While it's selected, I'm going to come here, and I'm going to convert it to curves. Now there's something I want you to notice. I don't have it selected here, and I'm going to select it. And once I select just the T, everything gets selected. This is all one unit. Okay, and as it is right now, I can always go back to my text over in here, and I could change my font, change my size, change my centering, make it bold, make it italics, all the same old stuff. Okay, close out of that. Now I'm going to come back over here to my convert to curves. Once I select this, the text will no longer be editable as text. It will only be editable as curves, which is actually much more of an advantage to us. So I'm going to select this, and you'll notice now they're all dashed lines. So I'm going to deselect, so nothing is selected now, and I'm going to select, and you'll notice the only thing is selected was the T. Each of these letters is individual now. Now, not only are these letters individual, but the dot and the I is also an individual. Okay. Now, if I had, for instance, the letter B, the inside circles of the, the bellies of the B or the belly of a D would be a separate piece as well. So in cases like a B or a D or an A with anything with an inside part, my suggestion is always to select those two, come over here, group them. That makes those one object. Everything else is still separate, but just these two. Now in my case, I don't want these together, so I'm going to ungroup by clicking the ungroup over here. Now they're both individual again. I'm going to take the I, the dot on the I, and I'm going to delete it. Okay, now I want to edit this, and I want to get down and dirty and edit the insides of it. So there's two ways I can do this. I'm going to select it. I can come over here, and you'll notice this is the node editing. So I can go into node editing here by clicking this, and these are my nodes. All these little squares here. The green one here is unique because it is the start and finish. This is where it starts, And you can see the little arrow say it flows, showing you it flows in this direction. And it ends here. And sometimes you may want your machine to cut that way, and that is an option over in your toolpaths part. But for us, that's a little more advanced, and we don't really need to mess with that right now. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to drag select all those top nodes. You notice they all turned red. And using my arrow keys, I'm going to use the up arrow key, and I'm going to nudge it up just a bit. Now, I'm going to select it again, and this time I just want those. And using my right arrow key, I'm going to move it to the right. Now, with every one click, you see how far it moves. If I hold my shift and click my arrow key, notice how much farther it's moving each time. So, no shift, with shift. No shift, with shift. If I hold my control key and use my right arrow key, you can see it, it's barely moving. It's a very tiny micro move, but that's good for precision. So I want this way over here. I'm gonna put it right about there. Okay. So now I've made a change to my letter, and that's kind of cool. Now for right now, I'm thinking this is too far now. Now between the T and the I and the M, it doesn't look quite right. So remember we came up here to our text spacing, but see I can't use that now. So if I click, I have no text here. There's no text. Remember we converted it to curves. So now this type of editing we can't do. So what I can do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select. Now if you remember from past, if I drag from the right to the left, I only have to touch. Anything I touch with my bounding box will select. If I drag from the left to the right, notice nothing happens. I have to completely encapsulate it. So I'm going to come over here because I have plenty of room. I'm going to go like that. And again, using my arrow keys, I'm going to nudge this into a better location. I'm thinking right there. All right. Now that I did that, I'm going to leave this like it is right now. All right, so the other way I can go into Node Edit, I have this selected, and all I simply have to do is press the N key, the letter N on my keyboard. Once I press that N key, you'll notice I've gone into my node editing mode. All the nodes along the curve, which are always more of to give it that nice rounded shape, and my ends. So on this one, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to take these, and I'm going to move these down about there. Now that's not the only thing I can do, is just I can do more than move this around. If I wanted to, I could make it crazy and move it way out here. And to undo that, I just hit the Control Z. I can move just a single one. I'm going to Control Z to undo that. You can also come up here to undo. Or I come up here, Edit, Undo. And as you notice over here is our hotkeys for undo. Okay, so I don't have to just move it straight or to the right or to the left or up. I can move it. I can move individual ones just to make anything look crazy. I could flare these two apart. What I can also do, if I come over here and I click on my line there, I can insert a point. So now I have that point inserted. And let's go select like this. I'm going to take this, I'm going to nudge this. No, I don't want to do that one. I want to Let's see what this does for me. That'll work. I'm going to stretch this out to here. I'm going to take my midpoint there. And I'm going to come back here. I'm going to put it right over that one. And you'll notice now I have this dashed line that tells me we're still in alignment. And I think I moved it off just a little bit when I closed it up. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to hold control this time because I want just the tiniest moves. There we go. Notice this is nice and straight now. I'm going to select this one, and I just want to micro move to get that little notch out of the line right there. If you see, I want to get that little notch out. So I'm going to control and click to the right, and there we go. I got that out. So now, this is looking pretty cool. So let's say, you know, I still want to have a little more fun. I notice I've got a little notch in there still, so I'm going to come over here, select this one, hold the control key, click now. That looks better. Now I got rid of that. I'm going to select these two. I'm going to go just a little bit further. I think I'll bring it out to here. Actually, let's bring it out further than the top of the T. Okay, I'm going to go like that. Then I'm going to come to my poly tool. I'm just having a little fun right now. I'm going to come to my poly tool. I want it three-sided. Basically, I want a triangle, and I'll make it, let's take it about like that. Click on this. I'm going to move this over here. And I'm going to hold down my control key, and I'm going to drag. That gives me another copy. Come up here, select it again. I'm going to come to my rotate. Rotate it right there. And then I'm going to move it down. And I'm going to overlap that just a little bit. And using my keys and my control and my shift, I am going to nudge these about even. That looks good. I'll take this one. This one I'm going to rotate that way. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to move it down here about like that. That looks about good there. Okay, now that I have that, I've got those done, and I want to get rid of these insides here, so I'm going to kind of zoom in. I'm going to get my clipper tools here. And, nope, we didn't want that one to go. That to go, and that to go. And to zoom, I'm just using my mouse wheel. I'm going to clip. Notice how when I get over what can be cut, it opens up. So I'm going to snip that and get rid of this. Okay. Now from there, if I wanted, I could add text in here and text in there and just go crazy with it. Do whatever I wanted with it. Another thing that we can do is we'll select this, and I'm going to right click, and I can go into node edit mode here. Or again, I could just as simply hit the N key. And you'll see when I come over my top line here, you see my little squiggly that I get there? I'm going to take that, and I'm going to change this line to a Bezier curve. Now when I do that, I get this handle. I have a handle here and a handle here. And I could take these handles, and if I lift the handle up, I get an arc. And if I move this handle closer, you notice that arc starts closer to my node. And if I stretch it away, I can move it way over here. I can make it a negative, like that. And I also have the one on this side. So I go like that. And that's kind of neat looking, huh? So I could take this one, and if I don't want to right click and go to Bezier, you see here, it has B key is the hotkey for it. So all I have to do is run my mouse over that till I get that little squiggly line there, press the B key, and you'll notice my handles popped up. So now I can take this one, now move it in like that, and I can take this one, and we'll go right about there. And by playing back and forth with these, I can get it just the way I want it. I want it a little bit less. I'm trying to get somewhat close to the one up there, which is still not quite enough. And we'll move this back a little bit. There. So by just changing a few minor things, converting my text to curves, changing the main layout of my text, stretching it, moving nodes, adding nodes, changing lines to curve to Bezier curves, and adjusting those, I've taken a simple font and made a whole new thing out of it. This is great for doing logos or just having fun. I mean, you could do a lot of things with text. And that's one of the best ways to do it. But just remember, once we converted this, now we cannot come over here to our edit text spacing. Notice nothing happens. There is no little icon with arrows or anything. That is because this is not text right now. These are just vector object letters. Vector objects in the shape of letters. So it's no longer text. It's no longer a font. Okay, it's a font style because it's the Arial style, but it is no longer a font. It is now a vector object, which gives us a lot more options for editing, but we have to do things different. As you saw, we have to move it differently now. And if we wanted to size it, we would grab our regular selection tool over here. I would select it all, and I'm going to group it because I want to size it as a unit. If we group it, it is now a single object, and then I can stretch it like this. I can stretch it over to here and here, and I can rotate it and do all that fancy stuff with it. If I ever need to get in, let's say I just wanted to make a change to the eye by itself, all I have to do, select it, come over here to the ungroup, ungroup it, notice it all goes to the dashed magenta lines now. And if I select on the eye, I could make changes to just the eye. Again, if I wanted to, I would press the N key, which would take me into node edit mode. If I wanted to change this line to a curve, I would click the B key, which would give me my Bezier curve handles. I go like that. I come over here, change this one. And go like that. And there we go. So that gives you an idea of what you can do to really have some fun with text and change it up.